All right, let's get rolling. Hello, Beast. Welcome back. Happy to see you here again. Hope your Tuesday's been going well. Mine was going well until I just realized a potential problem with today's build. Shortly before coming on, was going through components, and I got this new Ultim plate for the classic TKL, which I have already examined before. But I realized today, as I was looking at it again, that for the standoffs, they require countersunk screws in the classic TKL. This plate does not have countersunk holes. Like they are completely flush with the PCB. It doesn't have the beveled bit it would need for the countersunk screws. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work. I may go ahead and try it anyway, because that's part of the build. Hello, Dan! Welcome. Know what you build us indeed. Dan is the reason why I have this handle everywhere on the internet. Well, him by way of the film Gentlemen Broncos. But yeah, so it doesn't have the countersunk screw holes. So we're going to see, because my plan is also to use Milky yellows in this, which will be probably a tighter fit than the sunset gleams that are in here currently. So I'm going to see if that shift in tolerance will be enough to hold the plate and PCB together without the standoffs, since the standoff screws won't work. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out together how that'll work. But that'll be the main thing. I also want to take out some of the foam, replace the switches, and then I'll probably also switch from DCX Citrine to FTRO, I think, and make it a full Neflock build as much as we can. So let me switch this to something a little less repetitive sounding. Let's go with, not that. All right, let's go with this. So let's dive right in. And also toward the end, I've also got some Lego for us to build. As I'd mentioned before, I think it was the last stream, we kind of finally got Font Awesome 7 out the door, which was a big undertaking for the team. And as part of that, we helped put together little custom Lego sets of both the Web Awesome and the Font Awesome logo on these little stands. So with what time we've got, since it's a pretty simple build, standoffs willing, we will dive into a little bit of Lego time toward the end. But we'll see. We don't have to lube any switches. We don't have to do anything too nuts. We're basically just going to take this apart and put it back together again. Slightly different than it was before. A little keyboard of Theseus. So we've got my Sunset Gleam box. So we'll start by taking off all of our citrine keycaps. Just chuck them to the side. They are a nice match. Like the yellow is a nice match for the gaskets in the base, though. Like in terms of value and everything, they're very close. It's a little darker in life than it looks on this on screen right now, just because of the extra light that's coming in, but citrine has served me well so far, but there's something about the texture of the tops of them that I don't like as much as your run-of-the-mill GMK ABS plastic. So, and I haven't used FTRO in a while. I last had it on my Silver Neo Ergo, I believe, which is currently playing home to another Neflock set, Mars Cadet. So, We'll just mix it up a little bit. You were gonna say? I know you can tell from there. I'm not streaming in 4K, but you can just tell. If you do want to get into the keyboard game, like you mentioned a couple days ago to me, Dan, I'm more than happy to be your keyboard Sherpa, your keyboard sommelier, if you will. You can get some samples, you can figure out different things you like, sound, feel, aesthetics. You can dive in. Rebuilding this board is also good practice for me because this is what we're going to be building at the keyboard event that I'm running in October. We're going to build a classic TKL and give it away. So I'll probably do one of those keyboard bundles that Novel Keys has right now with keycaps and stabs and the whole shebang. And then we'll have everything we need. And also, if you see any camera wobble, that's because the new camera setup that I thought would be here for this week has not come. Yet. Because apparently, along with the C-stand and some other supplies that I got for that, I ordered a cinnamilled baby pin for the purposes of attaching the camera to the C-stand. And it turns out that is a special order item and takes 7 to 14 business days. So whereas the rest of everything was in stock, I hadn't realized that. So a little delay on the better camera setup. Or less wobbly camera setup, I should say. Also, it's more aesthetically pleasing because I won't have to keep my giant camera rig up all the time when I'm only using it for essentially 2 hours a week. I can store it away a little more easily with the C-stand and everything else when not in stream mode. A little bit of gunk down in here. Honestly, more than anything else, I'm actually looking forward to most of the prep I have to do for my keyboard event. Double checking all of my keyboards for dust is not one of them. Because I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna dust them because a lot of them are on keyboard stands, as you can see behind me, at an angle, so they're collecting dust along the top occasionally. And I do dust my office with some regularity, but before I'm actually showing them off to anybody in an event or having them try it, I want to do that, and I also need to check inside the interior a little bit to make sure there aren't any weird beard hairs or something hanging out. Would not be nice. All right, so remove our sunset gleams. I actually meant to look to see what the spring difference is, because we're going to be putting in some milky yellows, which I think will kind of go... I mean, staying on yellow theme. But I like kind of the milky top housings and everything to kind of go with the transparent aesthetic. Wazzy to wazzy, dust to dust. If we ever have a keyboard funeral, you know that's going to be quoted. Well, I have had a keyboard die before, and it ended up just being parts in the closet. We didn't actually do anything about it. Yeah, we'll be curious to see how this works without the standoffs. Yeah, Sunset Gleams. These are an HMX switch. And I actually meant to do what I said I was about to do. And look at the spring differences here. Sunset Gleams are long pole, I think. They are 48 gram linears. And they came in this nice little separate container, which is actually useful, unlike a lot of switch containers I've gotten. Could slap a label on it and stuff. And then the Milky Yellows, Milky Yellow Pros, which I don't know what the difference is. I believe these are 62 gram bottom out, 50 gram actuation. So definitely heavier. And it'll be, by all accounts, more of a deeper sound signature, which I wouldn't mind because these sounded a little bit stunted on the higher end, and maybe that's due to the foam, which I'm also planning on taking out, but we'll play around with it a little bit. Swap up the sound, because I have been enjoying, after last week's build with the foundation, I've really been thinking more about some deeper sound signatures, because you got some of that thok going on the foundation now with its new build. So I might try to mix it up. I'm sticking with the plastic plate, but this one will be Ultim. Or PEI, I guess. Which is the... which I didn't know this, apparently. Ultim is a brand name. And PEI is more of like that, the material that it is. So it's more like, I guess, the difference between Kleenex and facial tissue. Which I didn't learn until... Bull was talking about it, I think, because they're offering a PEI/Ultim plate with the Manta, which I finally got in on the group buy today, which is exciting. Finally bit the bullet and decided on a colorway. Going with the machinist finish, which was the raw alu with the raw copper. Copper, right? No, I'm doubting myself. Is it copper or brass? I'm pretty sure it's copper. But essentially, the alu's raw. It shows the machining marks, but it's clear coated. And then the base is completely raw and will patina over time. Raw copper, that's right. Which is pretty cool. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that as far as keycaps and stuff go yet. It might be a good fit for SA X-Wing, especially as it ages and gets kind of beat up. I think it might be a really fun pairing with X-Wing, since that's also just been chilling in the closet for a while. So I haven't had a great board to match it with, although the foundation was its home for a little bit. Looked good with a wrinkle gray. Alrighty, sunsets. And I'm about to probably buy a bunch more HMX switches because they're like suddenly launching a bunch of new tactiles left and right. Like I just got an email before this stream from Unikeys that Unikeys and HMX partnered up for an exclusive light tactile. They just launched a couple new linears as well, but then there's also, let me find it. Oh yeah, that's the bruise and bleed linears, which are interesting. But then they also just did the frog tactile as a brand new one too, which is like 55-gram bottom out, which sounds very interesting to me. So it seems like I'm gonna have to be buying like 4 new types of HMX switches to try them out. And I haven't even found a home for the cilantros yet, speaking of tactiles. So gotta buy more boards, I guess. Put all these tactiles in. All right. So there we go. So now we'll open up the back. What size do we need? This one. Let's get out our handy dandy screw tray. Okay. Top case. And our assembly, which should have a JST cable. There we go. Make sure that's going to sit in the channel. Cool. Excellent. Set that up here for now. And let me put down something so I don't snag any sockets on my desk pad. Take off our little gasket socks. And remove our standoffs. Need a different little home for these boys. So yeah, only those 4. So remove the included plate. And let's try also taking out our plate foam for the purposes of this build and see how it cooperates. So there's the existing stock PC plate. Here's our new Ultim plate. minus countersunk capabilities. And so you can see the other main differences are that this has also been cut to potentially support in the future split backspace and a split right shift, which is not something that currently exists on the classic TKL, and it doesn't exist on the PCB as it currently stands. But I wanted to go ahead and get one in case they ever offer such a layout shift. And I'm also interested to see, just looking at the difference and some of the affordances around the stabs, because I think the V2 plates that they make themselves have a little bit more affordances around the stabilizer housings, but we'll see if this cooperates. It might not, because that right there already might be a problem on the shift stabilizer here. Yep, that might be a no-go, because it is colliding slightly over here. You have to like bend it up quite a bit in order to get it to cooperate. All right, good to know. This plate's not going to work. Which I had a uneasy suspicion of once I discovered that it wasn't countersunk earlier. Unless I want to shave this down a little bit somehow. Because otherwise, it would work really well. I mean, except that you wouldn't be able to have a switch go through there, so. Yep. Not going to work with this one. So, we will instead just go with a foam removal. It still is pretty snug. Shave it. I don't have the proper tool with me at the moment. And I would also need to do a little bit more work with it. This is something I should have considered back when I ordered it, but this was also the first custom plate that I've ever ordered. And now I know a little bit more about how that layout is going to work. What I would really need to do is actually cut out this entire center portion from the plate right here, which I could do. I just don't have those tools handy with me right now. Unless... Don't look. I'm going to try something. Yeah, I don't have the tool for it right now. That's okay. Something I will need to consider for a replacement for this. I'll need to cut out part of the right shift area. And also do a countersink process. But now I know. And it's easy enough to change in the future. But I will need to change. I think I still have the build command is incorrect in here. I do. So we'll change that real quick. There we go. Hello, Masters. Welcome. The plate that we were going to use isn't going to work. We've just discovered. So you got here just in time. So we're going to continue on basically just doing a, a switch and keycap swap. It was my own fault, really. It was the custom Ultim plate, which I discovered has two problems. Just before the stream, I discovered that it doesn't have areas for countersunk screws, just normal screws, which I should have realized when I checked it earlier. And then also the stabilizer affordance is a bit off as far as some of the placement and stuff, which I should have realized as well. Both for the split backspace and for this, like I needed to have cut out a little bit or specified something different with the custom cutting, which I also should have realized if I had checked it earlier. So now I know. I may just alter the plate file and do it myself, which is easy enough to do. I'll just need to get it sent to Tom and ordered before the de minimis tariff stuff disappears in like 2 or 3 weeks, and like anything under $800 or whatever it is. Yeah, Tom did make this one. I think it's also, well, part of it was my own fault because I basically, like, you can write in the notes like, hey, make this split backspace and split right shift if it doesn't support that automatically. But that would also require cutting out the portion for a non-split switch location, both here and in the right shift, just for now. Which I can do, but the countersunk screws might be a problem. But I think this is also the V1 plate file. Yeah, which I should have specified. That was my own fault for not specifying that it should do both. But you live and you learn. So I've had plenty of other good plate files from him that have worked great. This is the only one that I've had like custom instructions put on. So I'll just revise it. And what I may do, like I mentioned, is because I can edit the plate files myself in a vector program, is to actually just remove those sections and resubmit it and then ask for these to be countersunk. And then should be good. But I don't mind giving Tom a little more business, especially before tariffs ruin everything. So let's put the standoff screws back in. Didn't have a huge build plan for this anyway. I basically just wanted to swap out a little bit. Wanted to get a couple plates from him. Yeah. I mean, this might be the time, if you have an idea, because anything, regardless of price, apparently, is going to get slapped. De minimis is diminishing. Although who's to say whether or not it won't get extended or revoked or whatever. Tom can make tons of revisions for you. I know you said you can do it, but he did a lot for me. Yeah, that's true. I just need to be more, I would need to have thought it through ahead of time and to actually specify what I had hoped for instead of just like throwing in, because he did exactly what I said, which is split backspace and split right shift. And I didn't say like, please let it work for both. But now we know. One thing I think that I almost said, but I'm not sure that I did, was that I think that this may be also the one they have available on the website is the V1 plate, which does have tighter tolerances around stabs than the V2 version anyway, which they have the V2 plates for sale now. But the V1 didn't give me too many problems. It's a little snug around these buddies, but it's not the worst. These stabs, that is an excellent question. These might be, they're screw-in somethings. They're not swag keys, I'm pretty sure. Doop-a-doo. Here we go, let me look at my sheet. I have a big question mark in the stab field. I think these must have come with a different board that I don't know what, like some included screw-in stabs from something else that I threw in here because I didn't have anything else at the time. So that's an excellent question. I don't know what they are, but they work. I know they're not super wide because they do fit. It was just a little bit snug at the time when I first built it, but We're learning all sorts of things today, and mostly what we're learning is that I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. So we'll probably get a new plate for this. And let me actually specify what I was hoping. But I think I still wanted to switch up the switches and keycaps anyway, so it's all good. Because I liked the aesthetic of the milky yellows a little bit better with the whole vibe of the board. With the frostiness. Got bored at work today, added purchase and delivery dates to all my boards and Notion inspired by yours. Sweet! It's helped me a lot to not lose my mind trying to find old emails and receipts to track down stuff like that. And it's nice to be able to compare actual to estimated projection delivery dates and that kind of thing. Actually, I'm curious how these yellows compare to each other. The sunset gleams and the milky yellows. The stem, I mean. Oh, they're pretty darn close. The milky yellow, I think, is a little bit more saturated yellow. It might be hard to tell on camera. But they're honestly pretty close. Yeah, with the translucent bottoms and tops, I think has a good look. The Ultim plate would have been more fun to see through the top frame, but we'll try again at a later date. Which just makes me feel super stupid, because I had that plate sitting around for like weeks and I didn't actually do my due diligence on it. I was like, hey, this looks cool. I'll just set it aside and build it sometime. Typing on your milky yellows right now. Very nice. I've used them in... I tried them out in one of my 40s a little bit and also on a macro pad. So this will be the largest build that I will have tried with them, and I'm excited. More time for Legos, exactly. Which are also not excruciatingly long builds. They're pretty straightforward too, just perusing the directions that we put together to double check the timing, but oop. A little bit of a wobble here. Plus, you know, it was my first custom plate, so I'm not too torn up about not understanding what I was doing. And it's more business for Tom, so I don't mind. But now I also will actually do my due diligence and double check all the other custom plates that I've gotten so far. The January, I have already looked over the event horizon and made sure that it was countersunk, which it is. But of course I don't have another plate to compare that to right now because it's not here yet, but what else we got? January, the event horizon. I feel like there's another one over there. Oh, for the Synth 60. We got one for that too. So I'll double check them all before to stream. Make sure that they'll actually do the job. I also just found out that my Duo 60 from Lazy Designers is gonna ship pretty soon, which is exciting. To figure out what to do with that one. The January is a 60%. It's an O-ring 60. I'm assuming, yes, did you hear the big news about Critical Role Campaign 4? I sure did. Me and my family were visiting friends in Kentucky, and we were getting ice cream when I checked Instagram and saw the news, which is very exciting. I, for one, did not finish Campaign 3. I kind of fell off of it a little bit. And so, as a big D20 head, I'm very excited to see Brennan more in the fold there, and also giving Matt a chance to play, which I'm very excited about. Especially after what a great and wonderful time they had in Divergence with Brennan doing or running that one. And what a gift that was to Matt. Like, it was so sweet. So I'm very excited to see that. I love my CRC. Jack is a great designer. Indeed. I have the Alu Bolt. That's my only lazy board right now. I'm excited for the duo. I think I'm the only one of my friends that watched all of C3. Oh, really? I mean, part of it was I didn't love all the characters in C3. I mean, no shade to the cast or anything else, but it was like just not for me as much as the past two campaigns. Granted, I still watched the trilogy of Brennan-led stuff. The Downfall and Divergence and all that. But, yeah. I think it's nice that they're opening it up to a new world. Like, they don't have to be as precious with like they were with Exandria to some degree, I feel like, you know. So they can kind of start afresh. Which also, I mean, it makes sense that this might be opening it up to be Daggerheart. And not D&D for this one. But that feels like a logical step. But I guess we'll find out. Because I don't think in the announcement they didn't say like new system, right? It was just like new world, new DM, new campaign. So, I mean, maybe that would have been giving it away too much if they'd said that. Loved Calamity so much. I don't watch D20 or anything really, but Brendan floored me with Calamity. It's excellent. I know that Dimension 20 is not everybody's cup of tea, because it's, you know, it's a much shorter, much more focused kind of thing. You know, it's scoped out into smaller chunks. It is much more naturally comedic because it is comedians typically playing. I know, like, not to say that, you know, Critical Role is also hilarious, but I mean, like, more inherently comedic and, like, built into the DNA. But I watched a few of the first episodes, just didn't want to get dropped out just to watch it. Sure, I get that. I actually watched all of the first couple seasons are free on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. All of Escape from the Blood Keep and maybe all of the first season of Fantasy High. Not sure about that last one, but I did watch all of Escape from Bloodkeep on YouTube for free on their official account, and that's what got me to get a Dropout subscription. So that's really good. Have you called the game called Peak? Have I heard of it? Have I played it? I have not played it. I did watch MinMax do a whole video on it, and then I also watched Griffin and Travis McElroy play it during the McElroy Family Clubhouse today, a little bit. It is hilarious. I like the rise of proximity-based chat in multiplayer games. I mean, maybe it's been more of a thing, but I feel like it's having more of a moment right now between Peak and, well, there's a couple other things that I've watched people play on Twitch that I can't remember now. Big Walk is going to be the same way, which is the next game from the people who developed Untitled Goose Game, which looks pretty fun. It's going to be published by Panic. Oh yeah, Lethal Company. Yeah, it's just a hoot. It's so fun to watch people play that. I don't do online gaming much anymore, or I would try to find somebody to play it with. It's got a little bit of a warp to it, doesn't it? I don't know, can you see that? A little bit of a bend. I know that it'll all straighten out in the wash once it's put in the gaskets, but that can't help with the stabilizer tolerances, probably. I think we're okay, though. It was that way before. And it'll smash out, but... You know what would have fixed this? An Ultim plate. Just kidding. All right. Big Walk is no joke. One of my most anticipated games in years. It looks so cute. Same. I gotta find. I mean, if you want to play it, I'll be game. I really want to play Big Walk. It looks so great, and I love House as a developer. I just got the game that Panic just published last week, Time Flies, that I want to play on stream sometime too, because I got to demo it at XOXO last year. It's pretty funny. It's kind of like, I mean, it has the mixture of like a to-do list, like Untitled Goose Game, but then it's also like, however much, like 70-second roguelite runs, essentially, when you're living the life of a fly and trying to accomplish these different things, and it's very silly. Let's put our little sakis back on. I think the last stuff that I played multiplayer online was Helldivers 2. And that was like right when the Illuminate patch came out. I haven't really played it much since then. Because I really only had like one or two people I would play with regularly, and they kind of bounced off Helldivers, and so I was just kind of alone doing like random matchmaking, which is sometimes okay. At least with Helldivers, it's pretty hilarious no matter what happens. Used to be a big Destiny guy. Then I had a kid. Alrighty. This little speck of stuff is out of there. Okay. JST, where are you? There you are. Is that sitting okay in there? Feels a little wobbly. I don't know if the cable is in the channel as much as it should be. Stay. This is probably still the best color for classic TKL. I might agree with you. Although now they offer all of the gasket socks in all sorts of colors, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, you don't have as much control over the foot since it's like glued on. But as far as the top goes, because you can still get the translucent case, you could do some fun customization with the gaskets. The orangey red one? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember. Ironstone? Yeah, that one. Regolith was a good color. The glow-in-the-dark ones are fun, too, which I have the glow-in-the-dark green one packed away right now, but... yeah, they've done a good job with these. It is a fun board. Why don't you go in there, buddy? Let's try another one. There we go. Anybody here gonna go in on the Series 22 key cult? Was it like $1,000 or something? Which I get why. And Mike's made it very clear as to why. But, whoo boy. 1,200? Yeah, exactly. Wild. It's beautiful though. I do dig the vibe. And I also considered it. But it was... Oh, you don't like it? Hey, you know. To each their own. I'm a big fan of the aesthetic. But the layout options were a bit limited for me, apart from the price tag. I was also a little bit wary of the lack of threaded inserts, which I know have already addressed at length. I don't trust myself to not accidentally over-tighten and then crack the polycarbonate. But yeah, so the price tag, the lack of some of the layout options pushed me away from it. And again, it does make sense that it was something that came up as a commission idea from somebody rather than something with mass market appeal, you know? Let's double check all these. Curious if I could be won over by someone's build, but I'm not a big fan of finishes like that in general. Yeah, that's fair. I've only ever done finishes like that in moderation, like the, excuse me, like the accent on the Sonnet, like the V1 Sonnet I got like the silver top and it had the kind of rainbow anodized accent and weight. I think I also got an accent like that on my first Envoy as well. And that I like a lot. But, I mean, it's a fair point. If I were looking at a lot of it, it might be overpowering. Might be tough to pair something with that, too, as far as keycaps go. The, like, rainbow metal look ain't for me. I'm boring like that. No, it's not boring. It's just elegant restraint, right? Don't even like PVD. I really like the look of copper, brass, stainless steel just on its own. Yeah. Plus, PVD and stuff is such a fingerprint magnet and more scratch prone. There we go. All right, let's do some keycaps. I think it's been a while since I used FTRO. Whoops, there went my camera battery charger. And I haven't actually done a yellow comparison much on how this versus citrine versus the yellow elements of the Proto yellow case. Hey, this stayed in pretty decent shape. Didn't get too jostled. Well, where's the rest of my accents? Oh, they must be in a separate. Let's take a roll on over to the cupboard. In one of these baggies. Aha! All my little add-ons and doodads. I went so long without having any PVD stuff. I've had a hot streak of buying a bunch of PVD boards over the last couple of years. Is that how you determined you didn't like it? After acquiring a bunch of it? All right. So this yellow, I'm curious, where is a good, let me find the backspace from citrine as a little comparison. So there's citrine, and there's FTRO. So it's interesting to look at it. I mean, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, especially with me, the lights. Maybe I can zoom in on it. I'll make a little color pocket here. On camera, they don't look too dissimilar. This one seems like there's a tiny bit, it's a little darker for sure, but I think there's also a tiny bit more green in the yellow on FTRO than in citrine. It is wild how much better the legends are on GMK though. And it's more textured, which is what I was looking for, because I liked the color citrine, but even like with not very much use, like it's so much smoother, like your fingers feel like they're just like gliding off the keys. Not in a good way. All right, let's go back out. Actively avoided it before. There have been so many good implementations lately, and some boards I really wanted that didn't have. All that, yeah. Anything but PVD. Fair, fair. I've found with some of my PVD, I still have the like little shrink wrap layer on them. Because like I'm not really looking at the bottom of the board much, and so I just end up leaving some of that protective coating on. Actually, how does this compare with? Yeah, it's a little bit, there's a little bit more orange and a little bit more green. We won't see them together much anyway. So we've got a couple options. We've also got like the white alert row on FTRO, don't we? So we could do it. How do we want to do it? How do we want to do it? Cloudline V2 PVD is so pretty. That's true. It really is. Got to think about. Let me look at a couple pictures for inspiration here. So it's either this row is yellow or white. Gotta do yellow, right? I think we do. I think we do. We could do the yellow escape, or, well, let's do this row first and see what we think. Let's see what we think. 2, 3, 4. Now I got that deeper sound. Actually, let me listen a little better. I do like that. We need a 7U for this, don't we? Which is this one. Let's see how the spacebar sounds with the... Almost sounds like a tiny bit of rattle. I think it's okay though. Yeah, I do like that without the foam inside now, with these switches for sure. I don't know why I just covered that back up. Turned the music off and lost my mind for a minute. So we'll want all of these buddies and delete. There's 1, 3. Yeah, I'm thinking actually that maybe the white escape would be nice up with the gray row. That's what I'm thinking. Thought about getting this set for your ASCII F. I don't know the name of that board right offhand. Let me look. Ooh. FRL TKL with a numpad? Or no, it's like a 65 with a numpad. That's cool. Part of the reason I didn't buy the classic TKL launch was because I knew I would need to buy FTRO too. It's a great set. I mean, as with most Neflock things, it doesn't miss. ASCII F is a cool board. It looks nice. Ooh, it's got those little like faux vent kind of accents on the side. Get a better look at it here. Ooh, and a matching wrist rest. That's very classy. I like too that it has the what caps lock and num lock LEDs as well. Alex used this one when he built it. Smart. print and pause go up here, right? Wait, does this have a Nef lock key? Like some of those other ones do? Yeah, it does. Gotta have Nef lock in the mix. What, the last song or this song? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Sketch for Summer by the Duruti Column. Yeah. New to me. Wonder if I can I link to this specific song? Track link. Here's a link to... Oh wait, why is it not letting me paste? What's your deal? For some reason, the OBS doesn't like me to paste into the Twitch panel. So we're gonna go through this way. There you go. There's a link to the specific track, if that's at all helpful. Oh yeah, I need delete and page down in... Oh, that's not the right row. I need a row 2 page down. Where are you hiding? Right here, I think. Yes. Doesn't appear to have any info about where the version came from. Oh, that sucks. I didn't actually click on the link. It just goes to the song itself. Huh. Interesting. I think most of the stuff for Pool Suite is sourced from, or curated from SoundCloud. So it's perhaps there somewhere. Okay, let's dig in to the bottom row here. Little alt. Actually, I want this one to be like a function. That's the one. And let's see, system, control. Nice. All right. Set this aside. And let me There's a tiny bit of rattle over here. With the different spacebar has shifted things slightly. I can address that later though. Yeah, I like the added depth from the milky yellows. It's interesting, but even though the spring, I don't know, the spring feels a little flabby to me, even though it's a lower spring or a higher spring weight than the Sunset Gleams was. Don't understand that. Let's see if I'm just hallucinating. Come on. For some reason. Could be the different space bar, could be the switch. Must be the space bar itself, though. The composition of it is interacting with the stabilizers differently. Don't know, don't think that I love that a ton. Could swap in a citrine spacebar. Yeah, that's very different. And the feel is different. It's just the plastic makeup, I guess. I don't know what the plastic composition of DCX is. I would assume it's ABS. It's also double shot. It is a thicker double shot, though. I don't know if they've got any PBT in the mix or not. Is it warped? Good question. Let's see. Well, there's the tiniest bit of bend on the citrine and none on the GMK. Just the tiniest bit in this corner. But that might do it. That might be enough to alter the feel a little bit if it's pulling on the stabilizer just right. I know those are different yellows, but honestly, I don't hate the DCX Citrine spacebar with this set. That might actually be a fun mix, would be to do yellow row, and really mix it up. Would that look stupid? Would that be too much? I haven't done much Franken setting between different keycap sets. And I think maybe they would look different enough with the distance between the yellow rows. Now I'm curious. Although I have the wrong arrows out right now. I'll consider that. I think I may need to change this though. It feels kind of dead to me. Something livelier in there. I just don't think the milky yellow's cutting it. Seems to be the way I feel a lot about some of the deeper, thockier switches in a spacebar setting. I don't love it. Let's look at something in its spring range. What do we got? Milky yellows are about 62. So what if we looked at... Oh, those are tactiles. Do they have stock springs in them? Get springs? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're completely... I mean, they were factory lubed and gas springs are butts sometimes. Could it just be that one switch is kind of a butt, do you think? Is there that much variance? Woo! Runaway lid. Otherwise, I might try a jammy in there. Oh, your hand lube and spring swept. I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy for that. Which is why I buy so much stock lube stuff. Let's try. I'm sure yours are great with the care that you put into them. Let's attempt. If I wasn't putting them in a $600 drawer, I might not have had the gumption. Yeah. Let's try a jammy in here. Which is in the 65 range. Oh no, 63, so it's like 1 gram off, roughly. But it feels better. Oh, welcome, Ahir. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, we rebuilt a Proto Yellow Classic TKL. I say rebuilt very generously. It was basically just changing the switches and the keycaps because the custom plate that I ordered didn't work. Legos are next. I knew this wouldn't take very long. And they're nothing wild by any means, but they should be fun. I think I like the jammy. I am getting a little bit of rattle, but my lube is in the other room right now, so I'll just do that at a different point. But this side, I'm getting a little bit of ping, a little bit of rattle from that side. But I think I like that a little bit better than the Milky Yellow in the mix. So, these keycaps are GMK FTRO from Novel Keys. Previous to that, well, this is the spacebar is from DCX Citrine, which is also the keycap set that was on here previously. So this is what it would look like if it went straight FTRO, which maybe I'll go back to just for the moment. I may experiment with changing the bottom row out to Citrine to kind of get a yellow echo thing going on. Do I prefer the shift icons left aligned and centered? What do you mean? Or do you prefer the normal GMK icons left aligned like the alphas? I honestly don't think about it a ton, which is surprising considering I'm an icon designer. I usually like whatever the keycap set designer chose because they usually have a reason, some kind of aesthetic or thematic reason. So I don't know that I have a preference, honestly, between them. I like this though. So let's swap it out before we jump into Legoland. I will usually go with the bar of color rather than full RGB on this as well. Everything's working as it should. Good. Good, good. I'm trying to think of if I have an example of other alignment. I can't visualize it in my head right now for some reason, but... Oh, you have examples. Perfect. Older sets do this alignment. Oh, right. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what I prefer. All right, let's get into Lego. I'm wondering if I can update my category live. And see if that will change through OBS. We'll see. All right, so we got a couple sets. We got Web Awesome and Fawn Awesome. I think I might start with some web. And let me get the instructions pulled up. I believe their construction is virtually identical, except for the logo that'll be on the front, since they're pretty straightforward. Let's merge all windows and get them over here. Yeah, I might not have known what you were referencing at first, and you're just because I don't have a ton of old sets when it comes to GMK. A lot of stuff that I've gotten is more recent or like reruns of older stuff. So I'm not as familiar with some of the old alignments. All things considered, I'm fairly new to the hobby. It's only been like 4 years or so. The category updated? Sweet. Yeah, I wasn't sure if doing it and then pressing done in OBS would do the trick or not. Because it doesn't let me paste text, so you never know. All right. So Web Awesome is our sister product that launched much more recently. We had a Kickstarter for it last spring, or spring of last year, I should say. It is a web component library and framework, which is pretty cool. I sort of understand it. I am not a web developer. Well, I can do some front-end work, but I'm primarily a visual designer. So from what I understand from web development people I know, it's very exciting. You can do a lot of fun stuff in a human-readable way that is framework and platform agnostic to some degree, which is pretty cool. And the logo for it is a little crown in the same style as our Fawn Awesome flag, this one. And part of that was for the flag also somewhat looks like an F for Fawn Awesome, and the crown for Web Awesome is a W for web. So there's kind of a fun double thing going on. Let's see, and we need a bunch of these, 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. I saw you guys get keyboards from the company within reason. What is that reason? Oh, that's a 5-year anniversary thing at the company. Our CEO is a keyboard head as well. And so when you hit 5 years, you can, if you want, get a custom keyboard that you want, regardless of what it is, within reason, as far as cost goes and stuff. Like, I don't think they would spring for, say, a Norbauer Seneca or something. But, like, even if it's been, like, not something that's currently available, so to speak, like, he'll help, like, source it, track it down on Mech Market or something. The Geist is a good question. I don't know. I don't know that I would want one. But I'm still a couple years away from that benchmark. I'd have to figure out what, if anything, I would be interested in. But we'll also see if what the state of the world economy is at that point. And what the landscape in general looks like. So it looks like we're getting into part of the logo, part of the spokes of the crown. I might actually try to request a keycap set instead, if he could track down GMK Honey for me. Because I have not had any luck with that. Got a little bit of the top of the crown starting here. I've already gotten 2 keyboards out of my work though, so I don't know that I need another one. Because I got one when I joined, which was a custom engraved Mode 80. That has both the plate and the bottom are custom anodized to our brand blue. And then it has the logo engraving in the top right. And then I got the Fawn Awesome Sonnet through work as well, so we'll see. Let's see, got those, and then we'll need these 2 big boys. This. They have so many cool Lego colors now. I've been building Legos with my kiddo, who's about to turn 6. And they have so many amazing colors that they didn't have when I was building Legos as a kid. Like so many different shades of green and blue, and like we've got this cool kind of magenta, I guess. Like I don't remember having any purplish Legos in the sets that I had back in the day. I think it's awesome. We put in up here. And another one down here. And this goes underneath, part of the backing. And need, 2 of these that are 6 long. And they come out. If that, was it Atomic Keyboards, who's going to be doing that Kickstarter for the MDR keyboard from Severance. If that actually turns out to be real and not a rug pull vaporware thing, maybe I'll ask for that for 5 years. How hard was it to get custom Lego sets? Not super hard. I didn't actually work on the sourcing. There is a company that will help you do that. And then the instructions can be done through like Lego's Brick Builder app where you can generate the instructions and stuff for it. But there is a service that will help source the pieces for you. So our head of product actually was the one who handled this project and getting it off the ground and sending it to everybody as a little treat for getting Fawn Awesome out the door. But I could ask him and find out. It's a little ding out of that Lego piece. There we go. Okay, and a bunch of these little guys. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait a minute. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 4 of these. I wish I'd gotten... We also made desk pads for WebAwesome when we did the Kickstarter for it last April. And I wish I'd gotten one of them because I'd love to see how these colors match up. I think our orange has a little bit more red in it, but... not too far off, I don't think. I'll tell you what, trying to color match fabric is a beast in and of itself. Like trying to get the right Pantone swatches and all that kind of stuff to, especially when you're working overseas and language barriers and everything else. It took a few rounds. I can understand why keycap color sampling takes so long. Is that even with like time and resources and companies behind it? Like it was basically just like me emailing somebody in China and trying to get it sorted out and sending samples back and forth. But we got it. And this one too, finally. Thankfully, we'd already had the process with the WebAwesome one before we tried to do this one more recently. All right, so we got those. Now back to the crown. And 2 of these. I am wondering, looking at this, if they sent me the wrong piece, because this one should be mirrored, which would really suck. I think this might be the wrong piece. And the FontAwesome one won't have a piece in it like that, so it's just going to be a day of shitty mistakes. Do you know anything about the Novel Keys custom desk pads? I've been thinking about getting one. I don't. I don't know what manufacturer they use or anything like that. I imagine it would be a similar quality to this one, just based on all the different samples that we've been through, where it has the rubber backing. I know with the Novel Keys one though, I don't think you get a choice of like custom stitching or anything, right? I imagine the quality would be very similar though in terms of the printing and everything. But I've thought about doing that too, just for like a one-off of something for myself. No, but we went straight to the manufacturer when we worked on ours. Well, we won't be able to do that part of the crown, which really sucks. Do you have a design in mind, Beast, that you've been thinking about getting for a disc pad? Or just want to have the option available? Okay. Let's do a little bit more work on the back. Had a Camaro that I have some really nice photos taken of. I thought it would be really cool to get. Oh, that's nice. It's nice to have something personal like that. A little memento. I could see wanting to get a desk pad done of one of my kids' drawings. I think that would be fun. I actually have a drawing over there somewhere of we'd been playing a bunch of Untitled Goose Game together, and so she drew out a a strategy for us of an idea that she had. She even drew in some of the like button presses for us working together to steal stuff from the farmer in the first area. And I love this drawing so much. I want to get it framed at some point, but I could see getting something like that turned into a desk pad. Okay. Let me add a little bit of stand so that I can sit up to the back. Add a little bit more bracing around here too. Oh, whoops. Wrong side. So then I can kind of sit up like that, which is nice. Be at an angle a little bit. And then add the circles. I wonder if the circle, though, I can cover up the fact... Not entirely. Can't cover up the fact that there's a wrong piece. So that goes, and then this one goes here. And there should be a mirrored one of this angle, but this one is not correct. It's two of the same piece. So, sadly, this one will be a little bit incomplete in that regard. At least until I can get either source a new one or get them to send me something that was right. But let's hope that the Fawn Awesome one is correct. Let's give it a go. Different blue than our brand, but I'll allow it. Actually got a couple different blues. This is what I'm talking about. Like, we had one blue growing up, but this has 3 blues that I never had. Like, we had a normal, like, cobalt blue. And here we've got, like, kind of an aqua, more of a sky blue, and then a navy. Just stunning. I love it. Oh, it's a bunch of little pieces. That's right. 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cannot seem to figure out why some GMK sets have an extra B key. That's for Alice layouts, isn't it? Like the like so. B. I think I had read at some point it was something about like when this layout was being developed of it, like determining what keys to split on which side. Like it showed that people would equally use B with both their left and right hands with typists or something. And so that's why it's this way. But yeah, that's why there's an extra B. Yep. I have my own weirdnesses with layout stuff though, and fingers. Like that I almost always, when I'm creating an exclamation point, I almost always use the left shift or the right shift to do it. I don't know why. Things I've learned about myself and had to readjust slightly for some layouts. A little bit of flag, as you can see. I'm getting there. Okay, and 10 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 2 long blue boys. I don't use Alice, which is why I don't know. Yeah. I've only used a couple of Alices, one of which is a 40%. So in that case, I'm not using 2 Bs because I need every key I can get on the Alu bolt. I ended up shunting everything over slightly so that I would have extra punctuation stuff to ease myself into learning the layout. That one's weird too because it also has, if you want, it has the ability to have arrow keys in a 40%, which is wild. Like dedicated arrow keys, I should say, not just a layer thing. But did I learn anything? No, I don't use that board very much. 2, 3, 5. The fact there isn't an Alice with 2 Ys tells me that I must be the only person in the hobby that hits Y with my left hand half the time. Perhaps. Oh, I thought this was the Beths. It's like, this sounds a lot like Expert in the Dying Field. They have a new album coming out soon I'm very excited for. 3, 4, 5. So the same on the top. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Interesting seeing this layout slightly. The way that these instructions are done is slightly different than the other one. Oh, they're also different pieces, aren't they? It's the same curve radius, but a bigger piece. Huh. Wonder if they were easier to source that way. we go. Getting closer to flag. And now for the flag pole. To put on the stand. Yeah, and this is like one solid piece, whereas it was 2 pieces for the WebAwesome one. So maybe there's just some that don't, some sizes that aren't made in certain colors depending on what is needed for sets. And they just source what they can. Interesting. It is neat. I'll need to pick Jory's brain more about the process of this that went into it. There it is. A little fun, awesome flag. Unfortunately, not complete WebAwesome crown, but they're together and they can kind of stand up on their little stands to be display pieces at a little angle, which is cool. I might actually root through some of my kids' stuff and see, because she's has some more recent sets, if there is a white one of these mirrored in some of her stuff that I could trade her for. Because otherwise, could I just put it in upside down and pretend? Even the studs are going the wrong way. There. Fixed. That's really cool though. It is, yeah, it is interesting to see like some of the differences in the back construction, bracing, and then that's cool. Yeah, it stinks. Yeah. Which, you know, I've never had actually anything missing from an official Lego set, but with a kind of a curated, cobbled together custom thing, especially because they were making like 23 sets of these, I could see a mistake like that slipping through the cracks. But we'll see if we can get it remedied, either by writing into the people that helped us put this together or by just swiping one from somewhere else. That's really cool though. I love seeing these together. I'll need to find somewhere to display these somewhere in the background. Although I am going to be moving this camera to more centrally located directly over, so it'll have more of a view of the whole keyboard display. So I might need to find a spot to put these up somewhere among the keyboards and stuff. And even if I can't find a replacement piece, that'll hide some blemishes on the WebAwesome one, but that's cool though. We'll get it remedied. It's been a night of learning experiences between custom ordered Ultim plates that I screwed up, to warped space bars, to ticking stabilizers, to missing pieces from a Lego set. It's just been a little amuse-bouche sampling of a lot of small errors. But that's okay. We learn, we improve. We steal Legos from our children. Tale as old as time. But that might do me for tonight. I just got back from traveling, and I'm pretty damn tired. At least we know the stream is raw. Yeah. Happy to provide. Oh, let's see if anybody else is streaming right now, which is something I've forgotten to do every single time. Oh, Alex is streaming. We could do a raid with 5 people. I know it wasn't that bad. Thank you, though. Sometimes I feel bad. I mean, like, I haven't been streaming very long, but when things don't work out, part of me feels kind of lousy because I'm like, the few people who decide to tune in, I feel like I've done them a disservice in some way. But I know that's not true. But you can't always help how you feel. I appreciate you guys being here a lot. And consistently showing up. It means a lot to me. It's very sweet. I appreciate it. I wish I knew how to chill. I am not great at it. My mind's always running. But these are awesome. Peace aside, I'm very excited about these. I'm going to try to do a raid because I've never actually done one. So let's see if this works. And see if this countdown actually happens. Sweet. Thank y'all for being here. Let's raid.